All right, ladies and gentlemen of D-Class personnel, please have a seat. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Commander, and I'm the guy that briefs you on the SCP you're about to go study. What we're looking at today is SCP-3248, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-3248 is currently owned and occupied by Agent Carnigan. During SCP-3248-1 events, the windows of SCP-3248 are to be sealed, and soundproofing equipment within SCP-3248 is to be activated. Description: SCP-3248 is a two-story house located in Evansville, Indiana. SCP-3248 was previously owned by Dr. Harold Sullivan, a medical practitioner specializing in surgery. No links between Dr. Sullivan and any other anomalous phenomena have been discovered. On the 10th of every month at exactly 0400 hours local time, an SCP-3248-1 event will begin. The interior of the house will be remodeled to resemble its appearance on October 10th, 1979. Furniture will appear and disappear during this period, and any personnel within SCP-3248 during an SCP-3248-1 event are considered lost until its conclusion. Entry into SCP-3248 is impossible at this time. Now, during an SCP-3248-1 event, Dr. Sullivan and his family will materialize in their beds and awake soon afterwards. The family will set up their house for an upcoming party with several colleagues and friends. The party will commence at approximately 1800 hours local time. Guests will materialize at the front step of SCP-3248 and will be allowed in. All SCP-3248-1 events have been nearly identical, save for the occurrence of an SCP-3248-2 event. Now, at some point during the festivities, one of the partygoers will murder Dr. Sullivan. The method of murder and the partygoer that commits the murder has differed for every SCP-3248-2 event. The partygoers will react with shock and will attempt to call authorities or, in some cases, attempt to leave. The SCP-3248-1 event will always end at midnight. The Foundation has been aware of SCP-3248's anomalous properties since its discovery in 1985. An abridged log of SCP-3248-1 and SCP-3248-2 events have been documented here. I'll pass this around. I said pass it around. For a full log, please contact Project Supervisor Mel or on-duty HCML Supervisor, whoever the hell that might be at the time. I'll go ahead and read for you what is being passed around here. Read along if you know how. Date, 9/10/1985. Murderer, Gary Gerald. Cause of death, gunshot to the forehead with a Glock 10 pistol while Dr. Sullivan was drinking a bottle of alcohol. Notes, first observed instance of SCP-3248-2. 10/10/1985. The murderer, Matthew Dennis. Cause of death, gunshot to the stomach with a different model of pistol. Notes, Dr. Sullivan tries to call the police for help but expires before he can reach the phone. Date, 3/10/1986. Murderer, Rachel Johnston. Cause of death, gunshots along Dr. Sullivan's left arm. Dr. Sullivan later died of blood loss. Notes, before the gunshots occurred, Dr. Sullivan attempted to leave the room. Date, 6/10/1986. Murderer, Eric Cooper. Cause of death, sneaking up behind Dr. Sullivan and slitting his throat with a hunting knife. Notes, first recorded SCP-3248-2 event that did not use a gun. Date, 10/10/1986. Murderer, James Christensen. Cause of death, walking up to Dr. Sullivan and excavating his stomach with a butterfly knife. Notes, as Mr. Christensen approached Dr. Sullivan, he began to run away before he pulled out his knife. Date, 1/10/1988. Murderer, Stephen Contreras. Cause of death, slitting Dr. Sullivan's wrists multiple times until he died of blood loss. Notes, this was the first SCP-3248-2 event that occurred outside of the living room. Dr. Sullivan had relocated himself to this kitchen during this time. Date, 5/10/1989, murderer, Edward Davis. Cause of death, breaking down the door with a sledgehammer and crushing Dr. Sullivan's head. Notes, Dr. Sullivan had hidden himself in the bathroom during this time. Date, 9/10/1991, murderer, Bertha Sullivan. Cause of death, igniting Dr. Sullivan using a matchstick. Notes, SCP-3248 caught on fire during this time. However, at the end of the SCP-3248-1 event, all damage to SCP-3248 was repaired. Date, 2/10/1992, murderer, Sharon Garcia. Cause of death, drowning Dr. Sullivan in his toilet. Notes, Dr. Sullivan was hiding in the bathroom again. Date, 12/10/1993, murderer, Robert Brown. Cause of death, securing Dr. Sullivan to the ground with rope and sawing off his legs with a hacksaw. Note, Dr. Sullivan attempted to resist this action. Date, 4/10/1994, murderer, Edmund Sullivan. Cause of death, ritually sacrificing Dr. Sullivan using SCP. Note, first noted use of ritual sacrifice and an SCP object in an SCP-3248-2 event. Date, 7/10/1997, murderer, James Sullivan. Cause of death, securing Dr. Sullivan to the ground and carving a symbol belonging to data expunged using his fingernails. Dr. Sullivan eventually dies of blood loss. No notes here. Date, 10/10/2001, murderer, Mark Sullivan. Cause of death, 4 other party guests secure Dr. Sullivan to the ground. Mark Sullivan then picks the skin off of Dr. Sullivan's face and consumes it. Dr. Sullivan eventually dies of blood loss. Notes, Dr. Sullivan did not resist during this event. Addendum 1, further notes. Dr. Sullivan held a party on October 10th, 1979 in SCP-3248 before it gained its anomalous properties. The guests at this party and the guests of SCP-3248-1 events differ greatly. Investigation into guests of SCP-3248-1 has revealed that all of them died between October 10th, 1979 and November 23rd, 1983. All of them were patients of Dr. Sullivan at one point. Further investigation using advanced autopsy procedures on recoverable cadavers revealed that all of those guests died within 3 days of their medical appointments with Dr. Sullivan and had SCP in circulation. Dr. Sullivan disappeared on November 23rd, 1983. His cadaver was later found in a nearby river. Cause of death could not be determined. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have. Yeah, that's all we got. Is somebody sleeping back there? Seriously? Wake his ass up and get him out of here. Well, he's going to get some fun work when it comes to this one. Yeah, I'll keep you in my notes, buddy. Looking at me like that and shit. All right, you're dismissed. Get out of here. Just get out of here.